Morning YouTube, DGTCG here. Going to be doing another deck profile real quick. Um, Still coping on that buddy fight, so we're going to go for another one. Magic World for today. Uh, Starting off with the flag, we got Magic World, Buddy Monster, second Omni Demon Lord Asmodai. Grade 1, we run Tetsuya, another Tetsuya, and another Tetsuya. Right line's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be the only ride line you can run, so that's what we're doing. As far as the Buddy Monster, second Omni Demon Lord Asmodai. This is the only copy in the deck. I don't run one in the main deck for a good reason. His ability, you pay 2 gauge. That's his call cost. He cannot be called if you have a unit with the same name as him on the board. And if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Tetsuya, he gets a continuous 10k power on both turns. So he's a 23k beater on your turn and the opponent's turn, making it harder for them to just swing into him. Also, when he would leave the rearguard circle, you put the top card of your deck into the damage zone. This is not a damage check, so you won't get any abilities from triggers. It's also the reason why I only run the one copy in the in the ride deck, because you don't want to be taking free damage. That's how you lose games. His other ability is continuous rearguard during your opponent's turn. When this unit would leave the field, once per turn, when at the end of the battle that he attacks, you can restand him with a counterblast. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, that is stand. This is called double attack. It's an ability that is special to Buddyfight units. So as long as your Vanguard is stand, after he attacks, you can CB1 to restand him. And then his last ability is at the end of the battle that he gets attacked by an opponent's rearguard. You can retire the attacking unit. Kind of like how Sienna works, this does not target. So if the opponent swings into him and he does not die, the opponent's unit is retired, and that gets around resist. For the ride line, we got the Grade 1 Idol Academy Tetsuya Kurodake. When he's rode upon by Dance Contest winner Tetsuya Kurodake, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 172 pillars without Sentinel, or up to 1 order card, and that's any order card, and add it to your hand, and shuffle the deck. So Grade 1 ride, you don't really do anything, but once you start riding up, so when the deck starts to pop off more. Dance Contest winner Tetsuya Kurodake, when he's rode upon by the Grade 3 Tetsuya, you can look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 272 pillars without Sentinel, reveal them. One of them goes to your hand, one goes to the drop zone. There are 72 pillar order cards, so you can search the orders as well. But you're typically just going to be searching for the units because you're going to need them in field and drop. Next up, the Grade 3, the main unit of the deck. Give the whole world a spark, Tetsuya Kurodake. He has a continuous Vanguard skill that on each turn, you can play 2 orders as long as they do not have the same card name as each other. So, opponent's turn, you can play 2 Blitz orders with different card names. On your turn, you can play 2 normal orders or 2 order cards in general with different card names. Typically, your combination is going to be with your set order and whatever other order you have in hand. The set order is super important, so I'll go over that later. His other ability is when a unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, choose up to 1 normal order or set order from the drop zone, add it to the hand. And then his other ability is Great Spell, Saturday Night Devil Fever. Auto Vanguard Circle, when this unit attacks, you can CB1, choose a Grade 1 72 pillars from your drop zone without Sentinel. Call it to Vanguard Circle. If the opponent's grade is grade 3 or greater, you can pay this cost with CB1, put 272 pillars without Sentinel from drop zone to the bottom of the deck as the new cost. And if you do, choose 2 grade 1 or less 72 pillars without Sentinel from the drop zone to call them the rearguard circle. So you could either CB1, call 1, CB1, tuck 2, call 2. He helps make your 5 attacks for the turn. You still get 5 attacks if you don't have this, because he can call anywhere on the board, so you can call 2 new front row units if you want to. So if for some reason you're playing a game that you know he's probably going to get taken off the board really easily, whether it be too much control or just too many attacks are going to go towards him, you can choose not to call him and just have this be your way of getting 5 attacks in this deck. Moving on, we're going to go to the grade 3s. Very short list, just 3% rides. No other grade 3 unit cards in the deck, but there are grade 3 order cards. We'll go over the order cards later. For grade 2, I run 2 copies of Demon Sommelier Zagon. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle until end of turn, when you would play an order next, the cost is reduced by 1 gauge. So there's some orders in here that cost a gauge to play them. If you play him first, the next time you would activate a order card that costs a gauge, it's reduced by 1. So it's a free order spell for the turn. Next grade 2, we run 2 copies of Dance Asmodai. Call cost is 1 gauge. When he's placed on rearguard circle, draw a card. Super simple. Early game draw, late game draw. One of the set spells lets you bounce him back to hand, so you can call him again and get another free draw. Drawing cards is really important in this game, so why not? That's it for the grade 2s. We're going to move on to the grade 1s. I run 4 copies of Demon Lord Asmodai. Very upset with Bushiroad that this is not the buddy rare in the deck. He is the main buddy in the series. I don't know why he's not the buddy rare, but whatever. He's your main grade 1 attacker in this deck. He has the ability when he's placed on rearguard circle, you can CB1. Perform one of the following. You can either choose one of the opponent's circles and retire all rearguards on that circle so it does not target the unit. It targets the circle. Only way the opponent can get around that is if they have an ability that says this unit cannot be retired. Otherwise, the unit will get retired even if they have a resist kind of effect. His second ability for that CB is you can search your deck for up to 172 Pillars order card, reveal it, and add it to hand. So when he's placed, you either pop a unit or search your deck for an order. Typically, you want to search your deck for the order card, but depending on what your matchup is, retiring the board is pretty good as well. His other effect, auto rearguard circle. When a unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Tetsuya in the card name, which you will, this unit gets 5k power until end of battle. And then if your second Omni Demon Lord Asmodai is on the board, he gets 10k instead of 5k. So 13k beater or potentially 18k beater if you have your buddy monster on the board. So super solid card. Now the upsetting part, the buddy rare that we got instead of the actual buddy, Art of Body Duplication Asmodai. To be fair, it's a pretty decent card, but still disappointed. It has the act ability, rearguard circle. You can retire this unit, choose a card with Asmodai and it's a different card name from the drop zone with grade less than or equal to the Vanguard. Call it to rearguard circle. So he's just a way to have if you have him on the board and you're missing a different Asmodai piece that you need, pop him off, call a different Asmodai out to the board. Or if, somehow someone got that off the board last turn, pop this off, bring it back to rearguard circle. Typically how I like to set it up is I'll swing with Tetsuya. When I call my new column, I'll make sure he's in my back row column so that way I can use him to call out different Asmodai on the follow-up turn, kind of setting up things. Usually the card that I will call is Let's Play Asmodai. I run 4 copies of him as well. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle, you can choose up to 1 card with Asmodai and its card name, put it into the gauge face down. So he basically helps you get your resources back. And he also has the effect that when he intercepts, if you have a Vanguard with Tetsuya in its card name, he gets 5k shield until end of battle. You're probably wondering why he says intercept. It's because the set order lets you intercept with your 72 pillar unit cards. So we'll go over that later on when I go over the order cards. I run 2 copies of Demon Realm Architect Gamingna. When he's placed on rearguard, you can pay a gauge, search your deck for up to 1 set order, reveal it, and add it to your hand, shuffle the deck. Just another way to search out the set order, because they're pretty important in this deck. And then last up for the grade 1s, Street Racer Aligos, just a basic D-Series PG. And then for my other 2 PGs, starting off the order cards as well, I'm running 2 Solomon Shield. This is the order PG for Magic World. It is same thing as your normal PG. You discard a card to play it. Choose one of your units that cannot be hit, but then it also has the secondary effect of choosing a normal order from the drop zone and putting it into your hand and removing this card. So cost, discard a card, PG with this, choose a normal order from drop, add it to hand, remove this from the game. So you can ditch an order from your hand as the cost and bring it right back, so it's a free card basically. Or if you're missing an order in hand and you need one, you could pick up one from drop zone. Now the first order card we're running, that's a normal order, is Mind of Hardcore. Grade 1 normal order. You can play this card if you have 2 or more 72 pillar rear guards. Choose up to 3 72 pillars in the drop zone. Put them into the gauge face down. Just an extra resource management. I don't use it too often, but there are times when you need the extra resources, so I do recommend running it. Then I run 4 copies of Nice One. Nice One is a very simple spell. You pay 1 gauge to play it. Draw 2 cards. So pay 1 gauge, Pot of Greed. Now combo this with Zargon. It is a free Pot of Greed. Super broken card. I love it. Next up, the main attraction, Noisy Danceroom. I run 3 copies of it. I've tried 4. It gets a little clunky at times, and you rarely get to play the 4th copy, so I typically stick with 3 just to make sure I have enough power, enough copies, but also not too much to where it's too clunky. So what the set order does is continuous order zone. If you have a Tetsuya Vanguard that's grade 3 or greater, all of your front row units with 72 pillars get intercept and 5k power. That is continuous on both turns, so on the opponent's turn they also get 5k power. And then it has an act ability order zone. You can pay a gauge, choose a 72 pillars on your rear guard circle, return it to hand. So like I was saying with Dance Asmodai earlier, you can use this card to bounce it back to hand, call it back out, and draw an additional card. Now for the Regalis piece of this deck, I run the Shroud in Darkness. Reason being is because typically I don't need to use it until my second grade 3 ride, in which case it's usually free. If you do not ride from the ride deck this turn, this ability can be paid without paying the cost. The cost is counterblast 1. Choose up to 2 non-sentinel normal units with different names from the drop zone. And the sum of their grades being less than or equal to your Vanguard, call them the rear guard circle. If you called 1 or less cards, put this card into the soul. Most of your main units are grade 1, so typically I'm using this to call out a grade 1 column because I'll always have him on the other side, or 2 boosters. So you're always going to be able to call 2. If you really need to, you can use it to call the Dance Asmodai and then one of your boosters just to get the extra draw as well. Once you start losing board, sometimes it can be a little difficult to bring your board back, even with this one, because he just replaces himself. He doesn't actually gain you a board. So I think this card is really good for this deck to just bring back your units, not have to worry about, not having a board and not having strong enough push on your turn. That's it for the order cards. For the trigger lineup, we got 4 Chilaxio. Basic heal trigger. It does have a guardian ability that when it's placed on guard, you can pay 1 gauge. Your Vanguard, or you as a player, gets red text. The next time your Vanguard is attacked, it gets 5k power. That's automatic. You don't get to choose when to activate that. So once you play your heal trigger for guard, and you activate the ability, the very next attack, you gain 5,000 power. So if you guard incorrectly and you waste the 5,000 power, there's no way to get that back because it's automatic. It does it regardless of when you want it to be happening. I run 4 Trio. Critical trigger order. It has the effect of play this with counterblast 1, choose a unit without sentinel from the drop, call it to rear guard. I don't ever use that effect because I typically like the shield better. Plus I have Shroud in Darkness to cover that. If I really need to, you can play this card to bring back another unit from drop zone if you really need it, but that's like last resort. You don't really want to be using that because your CB is very detrimental in this deck. You got Tetsuya that CBs, you have Asmodai that CBs every turn to restand, and the occasional CB from your grade 1 Asmodai to either pop or search. So Counterblast is very heavy in this deck. You don't really want to use extra Counterblast if you don't need to. 3 copies of Bastion Caps. Another critical trigger. This trigger order says you can pay 2 gauge, choose one of the opponent's grade 2 or greater rear guards, and retire it. I've never used that. It can be good, depending on what you're playing against. Sometimes you want to just clear a unit on the board. Again, I've never used the effect because I usually have him and enough CB to use what I need to do. But if you need to really clear a board, there's another way to do it right there. Then I run 4 copies of the generic front triggers, 20k shields, just like all the other front triggers in the game. And then for the over trigger, I run Spiritual King of Ignition Valnod. Blue OT is pretty cool too. I like the extra attack. I don't think it really matters which OT you run. I just don't think purple is good. Yellow is not good. And the Buddyfight one is okay. But seeing as how all you have is 1 copy of your buddy monster, if it ever leaves the board, then that's it. I think the best ones for this deck would be this one or the Buddyfight OT. But I think I like Valnut better. So OT is up to you. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. And if you want more deck profiles, let me know. I'm going to be putting some up more soon. I got one more Buddyfight I'm going to put up, and then probably going to do some normal decks again, like Bob Sagra and Zorga. All right. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.